This is an open letter to Mr. Beck, Ben Shapiro, and Bill Maher. Love you folks. Bravo. Bravo, Mr. Beck, Ben Shapiro, and Bill Maher. Love you, man. All of you. Gold, diamond, platinum. Salute. Here is what is odd about the situation. That you folks don't lose an opportunity to go after Islamic fundamentalism. And I agree with you. Great idea. Bad thing to go after, to be of Islamic fundamentalist. Or why? Well, we understand. In that sense, Mr. Bill Maher made the religious, and he showed his disdain for anybody who goes after a 2,000-3,000 year old religious text and holds that as very righteous, the book to end all books, and or Quran, or you went after all these other religions, but you never, in your religious, you never mention Judaism as a. There is also a problem here because these folks are also referring to a 3,000 year old religious text, or older, probably older, and this may be also a bad idea. It seems like you guys understand that maybe Hindu fundamentalism is bad. You guys understand maybe the, Aryan fundamentalism is bad. You do understand that, racial fundamentalism bad. You do understand that religious fundamentalism is bad for everybody, except when it comes to, Jewish fundamentalism. But let's be frank. I mean, you folks, what I've seen is that a lot of religious text is being referred to when these folks from Europe who have landed in Asia are killing some brown Asians. The white Europeans landed in Asia and have been killing brown Asians for 100 years now. First it was the British variety, white folks of Christian variety, and in recent history, forget about the fucking, since forever you guys have been fighting over this piece of land, that who should rule it. Maybe an international body should rule it. Some literally international body should rule it. So, because a lot of people think it's important piece of real estate, so nobody should own it. But this idea that we're going to continue going after crusades, keep sending human beings over there to kill or get killed. What the fuck is the point? Salute. The Asians are in their land. They were born there. They're brown. They're local. They're native. They're part of the flora and fauna. You guys are from outside the land. You guys are from northern hemisphere, where there is less sunshine, so people are fair skinned. Israelis, 90% are fair skinned. In fact, if Indians go to Israel, Israelis don't know that this is Indian brown and not a Arab brown, so there's going to be a lot of issues if Israel decides to import Indians, because again, Indians are going to be second-class citizens and not citizens at all, second-class workers, slave labor from India for Israel, which is not, that is not going to end well either. Look at South Africa. Eventually the Indians, many of them took offense being treated as second-class citizens, so the Indians and the blacks got together and got rid of the white ruling class. The same thing will happen to Israel. Folks, you're doing something very illogical. You're trying to justify. Here's what you're trying to do, Mr. Bill Maher, Mr. Glenn Beck. You guys who understand that religious fundamentalism is bad, but when it comes to, because you when it comes to Israel, you actually refer to a very religious text, old text of religious purpose to claim Israel. It's sort of like Muslim fundamentalism is bad because that's the religion of the natives, but Jewish fundamentalism is good because that's the religion of the settlers, and they have written the first chapter of our book, so we are both more or less the same, so we're going to support them. And specifically, more importantly, they're white, so we're going to support them. Whitish, the fuck. They're from northern hemisphere, they get sunburned, so the point is that this idea that every kind of fundamentalism is bad, except when it comes to these settlers, European settlers in Asia, their fundamentalism is good. Actually, we need that fundamentalism to justify the settler claim on the land. We have to go back to a 3,000-year-old book to claim the land for the settlers. So in that case, we are okay. No other fundamentalism is acceptable except Jewish fundamentalism. Are you serious? I mean, there is no justification for you to, you look at the history. Before this, you send your Christian fundamentalists to North America, correct? Those fundamentalist branches of Christianity that you couldn't stomach over there, you send them over North America. The religious, fundamentalists, the crazy ones, who you couldn't, it's sort of like, Al-Qaeda sending their shit over there to your land. It's the same thing. The religious fundamentalists, actually the Saudis have actually come out and say Europe is supporting the religious fundamentalists that we don't support, who have come from our countries to Europe, and Europe is, giving them asylum. These people are crazy. Either, teach them, take them to school and, try to wash out the stupidity out of their brain, or, don't, do that at least. But because they understand. So the idea is, everybody understands that their fundamentalist tendencies in their societies are wrong, and you do too, Mr. Bill Maher, Glenn Beck, and Ben Shapiro. You do understand that all other kinds of fundamentalism, religious and racial fundamentalism, are bad in your own societies, except for the settler colonialists from Poland and Brooklyn. They can be as fundamentalist as they want. In fact, their whole basis of claim on the land is a very old book. Are you serious? You condemn rightfully all kinds of fundamentalism, but not the Jewish fundamentalism, which is, is actually referred to in order to claim the land. Exactly what happened in the Americas, that Europeans send their religious fundamentalists. Suddenly in their societies, they would find they would find a cult. So the British, the French, the Italians would encourage these cults to go. The society kicks out because Europeans are very xenophobic. Come on, you have to be xenophobic to keep others out, to an extent, others who are not you. The Africans were not so xenophobic, so they have invited the Europeans in. They cooperated. They didn't, let's just say Africans didn't shoot on sight. If they had, they wouldn't have been, enslaved and colonized for a very long time. When you're inviting, some people, take advantage of people who try to, be, do their thing and be left alone. But Europeans didn't want to let other people to do their thing and be left alone. Look at Israel. Bunch of Polish, Hungarian, and Brooklynites have landed in West Asia, and they're saying that no, we don't want to let these brown people go about doing their thing, raising their olive. We don't want that. We want track houses. We want to make this area look like New Jersey. That area has its own mixed taste. You want to make New Jersey out of Palestine? The new New Jersey is called Israel. It's no longer Palestine. This is called New Jersey. Salute. I'm sorry, are you guys sane? You do see that we see that wherever religious fundamentalism suits you, benefits your paymasters, you're okay with religious fundamentalism if it suits your purpose. If it doesn't suit your purpose, if it's the religious fundamentalism from the other side, that should be condemned. Okay, nobody said it shouldn't be condemned, but you do know that we can see that you're not dealing fairly. You demote everybody else's religious fundamentalism, but you promote that religious fundamentalism that benefits your paymasters. Whoever is, for colonialism of Europeans into Asia is your paymaster. You don't print your own money, Mr. Glenn Beck. Whoever is happy with your ideas of colonialism is good if it's we doing it to them, but colonialism of these people from south of the border coming and trying to colonize us by not killing us but just working for us, but their numbers keeps increasing. That's bad colonialism. If it's if their numbers are going to exceed our numbers, that's bad. We want to make it that us white people are always in majority. That's the whole story behind Israel. The whole purpose of Israel, the problem is demographics. They want to live, Europeans and white people in brown West Asia want to live in exclusively white communities. That's why they're also going to have a problem with Indians working for them, because they're not also white. The point is, what's the point? I mean, that's very. You got to be very insecure to feel. You have to be the majority in order to not for the majority to eat you. I've never been in the majority. I'm part of the group of people that everywhere, even the shithole I was born in, I was part of the minority. Yeah, it's not fun. But it's not really that big a deal either. Look at all, there are white people living in Thailand, and they're doing okay. There are white people living in Malaysia or in Indonesia, and they're doing okay. They're a minority. They're living there, working there, and it's okay. Nothing happens. My white friends, Nothing happens if you go into minority. Nothing major happens. Look at other places. They're in minority and they're doing okay. They're doing okay. This idea that we are only the best because it's us. It's sort of like the story of, my penis. I have the best penis. Everybody thinks they have the best penis. You think you have the best form of government, although the evidence shows again the evidence itself is against your idea that we have the best form of government. For example, democracy is the best. You have been at war for 260 years of 270 years life of the republic. You have been at war at like 99% of its existence. That can't be a good system. And you have been war mostly outside of your own borders, bringing something good to the late natives. You're gonna go set them free with capitalism. Salute. Anyway, set them free with capitalism, set them free with democracy, and that what? Set them free with Judaism. You're freeing all their souls from their bodies. Here's the thing, folks. If you don't admit to this really big elephant in the room, that in this case you are wrong and you're not making any sense and you're going against logic, if Mr. Bill Maher doesn't say anything about Jewish fundamentalism and its issue, which the whole idea behind Israel is based on it, that we deserve to be an exclusive white gated community on this land, and everybody else who wants to visit this land has to get permission from us. And no, we are not giving permission. We don't even give permission for the natives to go around. They have to get permission for us to move. It's like a lockup. Again, reservations for the Redskins, and Gaza, and Jenin and Menin and Penin for the Asians. Folks, you white people have issues. Mr. Bill Maher, Mr. Glenn Beck, Mr. Ben Shapiro. Yes, you're also white. I don't care. You think you're not. I don't care. They think you're not. But you're white. As far as we brown and black people can see you, you're white, and you all belong to Northern Hemisphere. If you burn under the sun, you belong to somewhere that is less sun. That would be Northern Hemisphere, very north in Europe. So all the Ashkenazi belong there because they're all white. So you see that, and it's very difficult for anybody to take you guys seriously when you don't admit to the existence of the white elephant, the big fucking elephant in the room. That this is a bad idea. You're pushing based on it. First you say fundamentalism is bad. I'm with you. We're all with you. Going to a 3, 4, 5,000 year old manual, religious text as like it's a manual for life. Religious text is a manual for life. Just like a tractor manual is a manual for how to fix it and its parts. A manual for a tractor and a religious manual for life. You recognize that Muslims going to this religious manual that belongs to 5,000 years ago, that's a bad idea. 1,400 years ago, that's a bad idea. And you recognize that Christians going to this life manual that belongs to 2,000 years ago, that's also a bad idea. Religionists was all about that. And the Hindus and the Shintos and the Mintos and the Chinto, they're also going to, a very old life manual, a religious text That's also a bad idea. But you never mentioned the Torah and the Morah and whatever, Talmud and the you never mentioned the Jewish manual, life manual. Well, that's also wrong. Going to that is also wrong, because it doesn't matter what religion it is, just because the manual is very old. It's like going to a tractor manual, a manual for a tractor that was built in 1956. You take that and try to use it for a tractor that was built yesterday. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Why not point at the elephant in the room and say, hey, it doesn't work for other religions, it doesn't also work for you Jewish religious fundamentalists. And you can't, and you see the result of going to an old manual, trying to run a new tractor. With an old manual, you have bloodshed. Well, you have a new tractor, you have a new society. You keep saying, this is the elephant in the room, Mr. Bill Maher. You keep saying that, yeah, we should coexist together, well, brown, black, Christian, Muslim. In North America, we should try to coexist together well. I agree with you. So does Ben Shapiro, so does Glenn Beck. Keeps attacking the idea that anybody is mistreated, everybody is being fairly treated as right now, and everything is good, and we're going to go back to the 1950s because 1950s was, everybody was better, well treated exactly as they should be treated, and blah blah blah. But when it comes to treatment of the Asians by European settlers or North American settlers, you're like, nope. Whatever treatment that the natives get is correct, because according to this religious text, the natives have the settlers have a priority over the natives. Because of this, folks, you can't go for secular and trying to, trying to advise people to coexist well in your own society and not go fundamentalist on each other, which is a good idea. But why are you promoting fundamentalism in West Asia, Jewish fundamentalism in West Asia? The whole reason for the existence of Muslim fundamentalism is Jewish fundamentalism. The reason for the simple. This is the religion of the settlers. They came in real hot and heavy on their religion. That's how they claimed the land. The Jewish settlers, the Ashkenazi settlers came hot and heavy at the beginning, based on a very old religious text, going very fundamental, going back to a 3,000-year-old book, and based on that claiming the land. So what do you expect? You expect the locals not to go to their old text? Then the settlers came in hot and heavy with going back to their old text. You don't want the natives to go hot and heavy on their own old text? Are you kidding me? To try to reclaim their own land? You don't even have to go genetics. Do genetic testing and do genetic testing. Can you tell Semites from non-Semites? Yeah. Do genetic testing. Whoever passes the genetic test is a Semite, let them stay. Whoever doesn't pass the genetic test has to leave. The problem with Israel will be solved, I guess, in a month. Do a genetic test of everybody, and eventually you will find out that all the white people from Brooklyn and Poland have to go back because they don't pass the genetic testing. Go even simpler. Do a, skin complexion test. You're darker than this, you stay. You're lighter than this, you leave. Again, the Palestinians would win that as well. This is crazy. You guys are supporting a white colony in Asia and you call yourself righteous? You're supporting something very fundamentalist somewhere else, but you keep telling your fellow citizens that you shouldn't go fundamentalist. You should try to coexist because we want peace and quiet in our neighborhood. But that neighborhood, fuck them. Go as fundamentalist as you want. We support you. Go refer to a 5,000-year-old book if you have to. Go do that. We support you. Are you fucking kidding me? No fundamentalism here, but full support for fundamentalism over there? How does this work? What's the logic behind it? Because what? Our fundamentalism is a good fundamentalism, their fundamentalism is a bad fundamentalism. Again, it goes back to my penis is the best penis. I don't care what anybody else has, but mine is the best, the rest is bullshit. You guys, apparently as a race of being, don't mature. You haven't matured. If you think you're righteous and you're always right, and your mumbo jumbo is right and their mumbo jumbo is wrong, then we should stop speaking, because you should stop speaking and maybe go for a vacation or two. Go to some of these brown countries, Mr. Glenn Beck, Mr. Bill Maher, Mr. Ben Shapiro. Go spend some time in Congo. Go spend some time in Cairo. Go spend some time in anywhere that you can stay safely as an American. Then you have to sit down and think that me as Bill Maher, where do I feel safe in the Middle East? Nowhere. Nowhere. Dubai. Because Dubai has gotten locked down. Dubai has been taking iris pictures since the 2000s. They got the place locked down. But why wouldn't you feel comfortable walking around in Karachi, Pakistan? Why wouldn't you? Just imagine I'm an alien, I land on Earth and I come to you and say, let's go to Karachi, and you, Mr. Bill Maher, tell me that no thank you, no, I'm good here, I'm not going to go to Karachi. Why have you behaved in such a way that you feel you don't feel safe in Karachi? Why you, as a race, as a group, as the leaders of Earth, you claim leadership, right? Why is the leader has behaved so bad with the natives that you, as a citizen of the leader country, don't feel safe in Karachi? I mean, if you go over there and they pick you over their head and worship you and throw, flowers at you, then you feel as an American that your country has done something right. That, hey, when I come over here, they throw flowers at me. But that's not the case, is it? If you go over there, you have to go incognito. Even if you go there, you have to go incognito, because you think this local, for good reason, you believe the locals will not like you. then you have to find out what is the reason. And are you still supporting the policies that has led to this? That this, people in Karachi would not be so welcoming. I mean, everybody knows, it has become a meme that most American citizens traveling overseas are advised to introduce themselves as Canadians. Wherever they don't have to show their passport, that would be to everybody. They would say, I'm Canadian, just as a matter of security, and everybody understands why. If there is in the news that there is another shock and awe happening somewhere in the neighborhood, well, the locals are wondering whether the shock and awe is going to go up their ass next, or it's going to be in a few years. This is why Mr. Ben Shapiro would not feel, safe walking around in Nairobi or walking around in Jakarta. You see what I'm saying? Behave well and have the natives throw flowers at you. Behave badly and then you have to sit at home and not enjoy the pleasures of living in Uganda for a month. That has its own experiences, its own pleasure. But why can't you do that? Why do you have to go? If you do that, you have to go incognito and introduce yourself as a Canadian. If you dare do it. Why is that? Why support policies that leads to that? And let me be clear, Mr. Bill Maher. The policies are, every time you have to say we are right, that's the policy. We are right and they're wrong. Every time you have to do that, that's a policy that, then you have to go on, if you travel, you have to introduce yourself as Canadian. A policy that says, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. It's about me. My way is the right way. My religion is the right religion. My race is the right race. My economic ideas about capitalism is the right thing. I'm going to keep a line in between Koreas, hold the line between Koreas, because what I believe South Korea should look like is this. We as white people believe South Korea should look like this. And we like North Korea also to look like this, and we like China to look like South Korea because we recognize this. What the fuck? As good. We recognize this as good. We recognize this form of government as good. We recognize this form of economy as good. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. They want to experiment with communism? Go ahead. They want to experiment with socialism? Go ahead. They want to experiment with capitalism? Go ahead. It's not your business to hold any line there. They want to experiment with totalitarianism? Let's go ahead. It's not your business. When United States didn't exist, did Korea exist? Yes. So I guess if you imagine that United States doesn't exist, will Koreans still exist? Yes. So what happens if United States leaves the line between Koreas and facilitates some kind of sit together so they can share come up with some kind of a work plan for the Koreans to, be Koreans. There's no reason for you to hold up any line. Just encourage them to work together. Not hold up a line as if, no, we recognize this as good and that is bad. Are you Korean? Why do you think you have the best penis? Why do you think, capitalism and democracy is the best systems? Again, your democratic system has been in war most of the time overseas, and once at home, a couple of times with neighbors, with brown people, a couple of times with brown southerners, and with northerners. And thank God that skirmish finished. But then after that, one really big one internally, and then let's go after the rest of the planet. We have to be at war, teaching lessons to somebody somewhere, and we don't care where and for what reason. And that's the best system. You would think a system that lives peacefully, learns how to live peacefully without going to try to enforce its will upon the natives somewhere. You think that would be considered as a successful system. But you keep insisting that no, democracy is the best system, evidence is against it, but you keep insisting because my penis is the best penis. That's the thing. I don't understand that you guys. I don't understand that. How can you guys not recognize the elephant in the room? That you can't not see the elephant. You can't say that fundamentalism in every other situation is unacceptable, but in case of Israel, it's actually not only acceptable, but it's encouraged. Referring to an old text in order to claim a piece of land is acceptable. The same way you're sending Jewish fundamentalists to Israel, the same way that you send other cults in Europe, religious cults in Europe, to North America and South America. So anybody who didn't fit any branch of Christianity that just came out and was a cult and was kind of obnoxious, you send them to the Americas. You send and encourage them. Yeah, you're fundamentalist, no problem. Here's a free ticket to North America. Go to South America. Go and show your fundamentalism to the natives over there, to the Redskins. Exactly what's happening in Israel. You're a fundamentalist Christian, Zionist Christian. You're a fundamentalist Christian. You're a fundamentalist Jew. You're a fundamentalist Zionist. You don't even need to have you can be a secular Zionist. Of course, as long as you believe that white people deserve to rule a piece of Asia, hopefully a big piece. As long as you believe white people from Europe and North America can have the right to go and carve up a piece of Asia for themselves, and God forbid they cannot be in a minority because they're very xenophobic, they're worried that something bad may happen to them if they live in Asia amongst Asians as a minority. Something bad is going to happen to them. That's their insecurity. Israelis, the Jewish people in Israel, are very insecure. And their book apparently feeds into that insecurity. They're referring to a very old religious text, feeds into a sense of insecurity. This is clear. I mean, from looking at and reading about anybody who was a religious fundamentalist, you also find a person who is very insecure. about their place in the world, about their God, about the planet, the sky, the galaxy. They're very insecure people, so they try to calm themselves by referring to a religious text. Okay, that's fine, but trying to run a government by religious text that's belonged to 3,000 years ago. You see all these all these countries in the neighborhood that the Jewish religious fundamentalism in Israel drove all these neighboring countries into becoming their own religious fundamentalists, in that case Islam. The Jews forced them to go fundamentalists because the Jewish people in Israel were fundamentalists. They forced the natives to go fundamentalist as a force against them in order to claim the land. I mean, if you go to a deed that is 3,000 years old, I as a native I'm sure I have a deed somewhere that goes 4,000 years ago. If the idea is who owned it first, well, brown people, obviously they're brown, they owned it first. They have been there so long that only their brown survived, so they no longer have any white people. How stupid is that a bunch of white people from Northern Hemisphere go to that land and say that, yeah, we are white and yes, we burn under the sun, but we're going to cover ourselves with all these chemicals in order not to burn. Are you fucking nuts? We are okay with being burned under this fucking sun that is not good for our skin. We rather burn under the sun and then allow the brown people to live here and go about their business. The brown people have to go out, and we have to stay under the sun and burn. Salute to the Sane Society. Yes, Mr. Bill Maher, religious fundamentalism is bad. Islamic fundamentalism is bad. Yes, Mr. Ben Shapiro, Islamic fundamentalism is bad. But so is Jewish fundamentalism. So is any claim on a piece of land based on a 3,000-year-old text, 4,000-year-old text, 10,000-year-old text. I don't care. Claim on the land based on some kind of religious text is nonsense, especially if you're white and claiming land in brown Arabian Peninsula. It's nuts. Yes, Jewish fundamentalism and the whole claim on Israel is a fundamentalist claim. You found the claim on the land of a 3,000-4,000 year old book, correct? That's called fundamentalism, going to the fundamentals. Referencing a fundamental text of a religion. That's the very definition of going fundamental. I mean, please see the elephant in the room. A modern society is a secular society. It's not Jewish state of Israel. It's nonsense. The same way you should, every time Mr. Bill Maher says is Islamic, every time Mr. Bill Maher says Islamic Emirat of Afghanistan with a smirk, but then with a straight face he says the Jewish state of Israel. Is sort of like, I'm sorry, what? Theocracy for me, but not theocracy for thee. What the fuck are you talking about? And then now the Hindu fundamentalist in India are good friends. And I'm thinking to myself, why? You keep advocating for tolerance in your own society, but those other places, fundamentalism is fine. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. It's just, it feels very odd. I could be wrong. I'm wrong often. But it feels kind of odd that, just because it benefits you in some way, to justify fundamentalism in one sense, but not in any other sense. You rightfully detest all other fundamentalism, but you actually glorify Jewish fundamentalism, and based on that, claim on the land in Asia by Europeans, by white people. That's the elephant in the rooms, folks. Mr. Glenn Beck, Mr. Ben Shapiro, Mr. Bill Maher. Please look at the fucking elephant. It's there. Your hypocrisy is blinding. And you lose credibility when you look like a hypocrite. When you promote something for yourself and your own community, but promote something very different for another community. You promote peace and coexistence for your own community, but you promote religious fundamentalism in Israel, and you support. And then in nationalism, you support nationalism in Kiev. Yeah, you should be very nationalist. The Azov battalion is the main recipients of, US aid, whatever. Military support or whatever. Again, I could be wrong, but you support racial fundamentalism, religious fundamentalism. You support every kind of fundamentalism abroad. I'm sorry, maybe I pronounced it right. Abroad. But domestically, you promote secularism and coexistence and peace. Come on, folks. Come on. You lose credibility when you look like a hypocrite.